You're listening to Beyond Wellness Radio, bringing you the cutting edge in health, biohacking, and sports performance. Stay up to date and listen anywhere and anytime on your computer, tablet, or smartphone by subscribing on iTunes. Catch your host, Dr. Justin Marcagiani, as he answers your burning health questions as well as interviews from world-renowned guest experts. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to beyondwellnessradio.com.
Hey there, it's Dr. Justin Marcagiani. Welcome to Beyond Wellness Radio. Feel free and head over to beyondwellnessradio.com where you can access our full podcast transcriptions. While you're there, you can also sign up for our thyroid and female hormone video series. This series goes into the root cause of why your hormones are out of balance. While you're there, you can also schedule a functional medicine consult with Dr. Justin, myself, where we'll dig deeper into the root cause of your health challenges. Feel free and think of sharing this podcast with at least one person. This podcast grows by people sharing it. Sharing is caring. If you can think of one person that can benefit from this information, please feel free and share it. If you're enjoying the podcast, make sure you subscribe on iTunes. You can also click below the video or podcast where you'll see the iTunes review button and leave us a review. You can also sign up for the newsletter at beyondwellnessradio.com where you'll get updates before anyone else. Thank you so much and enjoy the show. Hey there, it's Dr. Justin Marcagiani in the house. Evan Brand, how are we doing today?
Hey man, I'm doing great. I'm super refreshed. I was so jealous of you getting out on your boat all the time. So I finally got to get out on the boat myself and I had a blast. I mean, when you're out on the water and all you see are trees and blue sky and the reflections on the water, that's a very recharging thing to do.
Oh, it totally is recharging, especially you get some fresh air, a little vitamin D. Maybe you do some cold thermogenesis too, get in the water where it's a little cold.
I jumped in. It felt great. We saw tons of different birds. I mean, I brought my binoculars out on the boat, so we were just looking at all sorts of birds. We saw an osprey bomb dive and catch a fish. That was really cool.
That's cool. Do you know if you're swimming in lake water like that, does that have a grounding effect, like going barefoot on the front grass?
I'm sure it does. I mean, there was no electricity. It's not like you're swimming in a pool that's hooked up to a big water pump or something. You know, that's about as primal environment as you can get.
That's great. Excellent. I see you got some.
I feel really good.
That's good to hear. I see you got some weights behind you. You've been lifting some weights recently? You're looking a little bigger.
Wow. Well, you know, those are the same weights back there that I've had. I just moved my desk around, but yes, I have been lifting more, and luckily, no pain. No pain. I'm back into the weights without trouble.
Good. I got to get back a little bit more into lifting. Like my big movement is I've been doing a couple of Tabatas a week, and then I've been getting like the last 3 days, 15,000 steps per day, the last 3 days. So I'm getting about 45 to 50 miles a week of walking.
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. And I got my little treadmill desk. Treadmill's up here. And then I have my little stepper that I do a lot of, maybe 3,000 to 5,000 steps there. And if I'm feeling a little bit more aggressive at night, I'll put it up in front of the TV and do some steps while watching TV too.
Oh, one update I do have for people. I did get an Oura ring. I do not have it on, but I did get the ring and I do put it on airplane mode at night. And I've been tracking my sleep at night. And I think it's kind of silly overall just to track your sleep and that's it. So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to start experimenting with certain adaptogenic herbs and certain protocols and see if I can change the amount of deep sleep, if I can change the amount of REM sleep that I get. So for example, maybe I take ashwagandha, maybe a little bit of GABA, and then see what happens. Do I get 20 minutes extra deep sleep by doing that? Or do I get more REM sleep? I want to see how do herbs change the sleep rhythm.
I think that's smart, man. I mean, I'm going to take some of my herbs right now here to get my adrenals primed and ready for a long week. But I think things like that are great because it's not only the perception is taking adaptogens help you perceive stress better because input comes in and then you don't feel as jazzed up or as kind of the spider senses are tingling because it allows you to interpret that stress a little bit better so you're not as wound up. And then, of course, just having good, healthy habits to go to like movement, like exercise, like prayer, or meditation, or visualization, having those kind of techniques, I think there as another way to take that energy or stress and kind of channel it, I think is also great.
Yeah. The other thing too, that I'm interested in is to see exactly how like the blue blocking glasses help me. Like because it also tracks your heart rate variability, and it also tracks your resting heart rate, and you can see your resting heart rate drop towards the middle of the night. So I'm curious to see, okay, hey, if I blasted myself with some light before bed, did that actually impact anything? We know that it does, but it's going to be good to be able to quantify stuff.
Totally. Like myself, I notice if I have a little bit of dark chocolate before bed, I get a little rev. Like dark chocolate for me has some very good cognitive benefits. I am very focused. I'm very alert. I'm not overly stimulated, but I definitely have this kind of steady energy. So I do notice if I'm trying to get to bed earlier, I either do less or I just, don't do anything. So I'm moving like my snacks towards like almond butter, green apple with some cinnamon as a kind of a snack. So I'm kind of shifting my snacks a little bit, but I find that if I do a blue blocking glasses, like my Swannies, it does like make me tired. Like I just get tired really fast. I'm like, whoa.
That's a good sign. Yeah, I've got these little yellow ones here. We were talking about flicker from screens. I won't put them on here because I'll look silly with the reflection, but these little yellow ones, they've been doing me pretty good. So I'm going to keep testing them and I'll report back to people. Because it's like, hey, look, we don't want people to not enjoy modern life and technology, but there's a good way and a smart way to do it.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I know we're chatting before the show. We were just talking about, the investment that we're making into our monitors, right? We both are all about, we have the flicker-free monitors along with the low blue light. So this allows us to be working with our patients and have all this technology so we don't, deleteriously affect our health. So we're trying to find technology that allows us to perform well, but also be functional.
Yeah, I mean, Dr. Mercola, he, basically made fun of himself when I talked with him because he was using a 50-inch TV, blasting himself with blue light and flicker, etc. And then he gets on this whole EMF rabbit hole. And now I don't know what he's using now, but I'm guessing it's not that TV anymore. Yeah,
the problem with the TVs is, number one, you aren't designed to be that close to them. So if you're that close, you're getting a ton of that. And I don't think they have like the low blue light, low flicker TV stuff. I know they have it for monitors because people have the eye strain issues because they're so close. So I think going with the monitors, like I'm on a ViewSonic that's got a no flicker, low blue light, which is great. And I know we talked about you're going to be testing the ViewSonic, the new ViewSonic, as well as what's the other brand?
The other one is BenQ.
BenQ. So if anyone here is on monitors or needs them for work and stuff, really look at a good external monitor that has the low flicker light as well as the low blue light. So I'll put a link to the ones that I have. I have 3 big 30-inch ones and then my laptop monitor. So 4 technically, but I usually only use just the 3 external ones and they work phenomenally.
That's awesome. So what we kind of chatted about, and then of course we can go into other topics, but we get a lot of questions about kids now that the kids are back in school at the time we're talking and towards the end of September here. A lot of moms are saying, hey, look, my kid's got these symptoms, like they're complaining of tummy aches. What should I be doing to investigate my child's health? And the question is great. It's really not that different than what you would do with an adult, but I think there are some important things that we can talk about that are a little different for kids in terms of gut health. So let's dive into this.
Absolutely. And myself, I have a 13-month-old child. You have a 2-year-old child. So we have kids. We know what it's like. We're in the trenches. So we're talking about it from a place of empathy. I think when you have kids, you have to have like your non-negotiables, right? Like my kid's not going to whine to the point where I say, okay, Aiden, you don't have to wear your seatbelt in the car today, right? Or, hey, when you go on your bike, you don't have to wear your helmet when you're on your bike, right? These are like non-negotiables, I'd say, for 99.9% of parents. But it's amazing, though, those non-negotiables, for me, I have certain foods that are non-negotiable, right? So I have non-negotiable foods, but how parents will negotiate with foods. And then those foods become a habit, right? So with my son, Aiden, he doesn't do a ton of green vegetables, right? There's a little bit. But what's the substitute? Well, we do green juice. So he does spinach, kale, celery and cucumber and parsley and basil, and it's all ground up in a green juice, no added sugar. So he's got a little bit of green juice. He'll do a little bit of sweet potato. He loves his berries. He will rotate between blueberry, raspberry, strawberry, and blackberry. And we noticed that he had some would start to come out in his stool after a period of time. So we just rotate between those. And then he has his various meats, pork, chicken, fish, and then some egg yolks. And then, of course, we have like a couple of starches, squash, sweet potatoes, And then we try to get some veggies in there when possible, like cut up broccolini in thin strips, sauteed in butter with some sea salt, and then we'll do the green juice. So we are able to figure out what the substitute is so we can get some more greens in, but it's a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And we just celebrated his birthday recently. We had 2 birthdays for him. One with his other family, with my wife's side of the family, so they could be there. And we got him this organic, gluten-free cake, and he took one bite of it and threw it on the ground.
That's awesome.
Right? And it's because this is what I try to get a hold of my parents that I coach that have kids. It's that kids' taste buds reset.
Yes.
And they become less sensitive. And then when you pound them with sugar, it's like, whoa, it's like you're used to like watching stuff on your TV, and now you're going into a movie theater with huge speakers and surround sound and subwoofer. You're like, whoa, okay, this is overwhelming. So it's kind of like that. But the thing is, so if kids are eating a whole bunch of sugar, and now that's being pulled out, their taste buds are kind of like have to down regulate. It's like, okay, you're in the concert, lots and lots of music, lots and lots of speakers. Then you come home and it's like everything sounds like a whisper. So their taste buds are just understimulated, and it will take a couple of weeks for those taste buds to reset. Now, the big thing you can do is we can make sure zinc is present. We can make sure good quality essential fatty acids are present. We can supplement with cod liver oil. Right? We can use smoothies where we provide a little bit of sweetness with some berries, or maybe add some monk fruit or stevia to get some of those nutrients or collagen amino acids in there. So we just got to make sure, like, all right, what are our non-negotiables? Let's make sure we prioritize food. Food is really important. I think most parents get lulled into it because their kids watch TV, or if they go to other kids' houses. Most parents don't prioritize it, so it's easy to get them sucked in, and then they want it because remember, these foods are designed to be addicting. So once your kids are addicted, they're going to be on you to feed them. So you have to do your best to kind of create the shelter. And remember, your kid's palate in the first 5 years of their life, that's where their taste buds and their palates form. So you don't have to be perfect till they're 18. You just really have to give them those first couple of years up to age 5. You really form that palate, and then their taste are going to be dialed in. And then you're going to have that kind of effect like my son had, where he took the cake, threw it on the ground because it was just too much for him. Right. So just, we don't got to be perfect, but you just got to have, all right, what are the goals? And then find the healthy substitutes. Like, I'm still going to give my kid some cake on his birthday because, he's a kid. I want him to have those experiences, but we found healthier substitutes, right? Find the substitute. You don't have to take away your kid's experience, but you can just find the healthier versions.
Yeah, and even if you have to make something and you can't find store-bought, I mean, there's like grain-free cookies, there's grain-free cakes. I've seen there's a brand, I think it's called Simple Mill or Simple Mills with an S, but they have grain-free options like almond flour cookies, and it's like less than 1 gram of sugar per cookie.
Awesome. Like, for instance, my wife and I over the weekend, we had pizza. What do we have? We got the cauliflower crust, and then we just have some organic tomato pizza sauce. And then I have some almond cheese that has coconut oil in it, no bad fats. So we just here's the crust already pre-bought. We just spread some tomato sauce on it, got some almond cheese. We cooked up some grass-fed meat and laid it on top, cooked it for 10 minutes. It's out, and we had a phenomenal meal.
I'm going to have to buy that. My wife's been wanting pizza super bad, so I'm going to have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you can get, I think it's California, kind of a little play on cauliflower in California. And they have great pizza crust, very low carb, organic, nutrient dense. And then you just can get, if you want the cheese, there's some pretty decent almond cheeses out there that taste really good. And just got to look at the ingredients in the back. Some have canola oil, some have junky fats in it, some don't. So you just got to look at it and see which ones make the most sense.
And where'd you find the crust at? That was Whole Foods?
Whole Foods has it. You can order it online as well. I think Capello's also has one as well. And then you can figure out what you like. They do have a nice cassava tapioca one that's very good. It's like kind of like it's really stiff and kind of hard, so it gives it that a little bit more body to it. But it's nice. So you can do these things. You can have the experience. You can give your kids the experience without all the side effects.
That's the best part of it too. It's like they get made fun of so much already for bringing a healthy lunch to school. You know, we talk with these moms and their kid gets bullied because they brought a lunch box and they had like an organic apple, and all the other kids are drinking chocolate milk at school, which is high fructose corn syrup and a bunch of other garbage. And if the kid does it, they come home with the tummy ache. Now, I think the diet piece was great. Let's chat about infections in kids. I mean, this is very, very common. I've already tested my daughter's stool twice. She's 2 years old, but I've already tested her gut twice just to be sure what's going on. And she did have some bacterial overgrowth that we did use some herbs to address. And her gut and her poops are awesome. They got a little bad, so we thought something was weird, tested it, showed up with Klebsiella. She had Klebsiella overgrowth and then something else. I don't remember what it was, maybe Streptococcus or something, but we did get rid of it and retest to confirm. And I see infections in 1-year-old, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 20-year-olds. I mean, these bugs don't discriminate based on your age. That's for sure.
Totally. Just to highlight one more thing before we dive into that, because you brought up a great point, is that as a parent, it's really important. Don't project what you think your kid needs. I see a lot of parents that they project like a lot. It's been so ingrained in our society that part of a kid being a kid is them having and experiencing junk food.
Right.
And I think it's really important. That's all marketing. As when my parents grew up in the 50s, right? There really wasn't processed junk food out there at all. Like it didn't really exist. It was just real whole foods, and the whole, junk food industry really hadn't begun until the 60s and 70s. So these weren't even options for most people. My parents, for instance, didn't have that option. This is all newer stuff. So try to, if you're a parent today, like I'm challenged to say, I want to give my kids some fun experiences, but I want them to be healthy. So find the healthy substitutes out there. There are lots of good bloggers that specialize in this stuff, and they have lots of good substitutes that will give your kid that feeling and that great, atmosphere of being a kid and experiencing different things, but also having it be healthy. So have the health mindset first. Make eating healthy for your kid a non-negotiable. Okay. Like if we're going to have pasta, for instance, guess what we're going to do? We're going to do miracle noodles that are glucomannan based, which is like a Japanese cognac yam. And it's 0 calories, 0 carbs, and we'll saute them in some ghee and maybe add some coconut cream with it, and then we'll put in some grass-fed meat so we get some extra protein and maybe a side of some vegetables, right? So we can do healthy things and have those experiences and not go without too. So just think like that.
That sounds delicious. Do you get those miracle noodles? Do you order those, or do you buy those locally?
I get them on Amazon.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yep, I get them on Amazon. I love them. I saute them in some ghee for 5 minutes, and then they're done, and then I'll cut up some.
Do you have to cook them first? Do you cook the noodles like you boil them in water or something first? Or?
No, I mean, for me, I strain them out with cold water, and then I put some ghee on a griddle, just a pan, and then I just saute them in there for 3 to 5 minutes, and then serve them.
And they're done.
That's it. Done.
And do they have different flavors, or is just miracle noodle and that's it?
Well, I mean, there's not really flavors when it comes to noodles, but they have different types. They'll have angel hair, fettuccine. Okay. They'll even have miracle noodle rice too, which is great if you want a rice substitute. So I like that if you want that kind of pasta feel. I mean, I grew up in an Italian household where we ate pasta a lot, and then it's kind of nice to have that. So, and then we'll do the spaghetti squash as well. Spaghetti squash noodles, I love those. And then we'll also do the zucchini noodles. Those are great.
That's great.
But
yeah,
miracle noodles really feel like noodles.
I'm going to have to try them. I mean, typically we just do organic white rice maybe once a week in the pressure cooker, and I do really, really good with it. No issues, no skin rashes in the baby from the rice. So we do that once a week, but besides that, we don't do any grains. But it would be fun to have like a pasta alternative. So I may look into those. Yeah,
and we got the pizza alternative, and we got the pasta alternative.
That's very cool.
Excellent. So getting back on your thing, gut health's really important. Now, why do kids have issues with their guts? It's a combination of, number one, what did the mom eat when she was pregnant, right? Was there pesticide exposure? Was there antibiotic exposure? Was there excess sugar and carbohydrate issues when she was pregnant? That's number one. Number two, was there a vaginal birth? Did you get some good vaginal bacteria activation with the birth? And then number three, what kind of exposure did the child have off the bat? Growing up, I only breastfed, I think, for the first 3 or 4 months, and which my mom's like, "Oh, you only wanted to eat that long." I said, "Well, a 3 or 4 month-old shouldn't get a choice. You should have fed me for at least a year." But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
I got zero days of breastfeeding. So
yeah, so there you go. So I mean, you can be healthy, right? But obviously we're healthy, but there's a lot of research out there. The longer breastfeeding you have, the better chance of health. My son Aiden's 13 months and he's not gotten sick once. World Health Organization recommends 18 months, a year and a half. My son's at 13 months and he's doing well with that. But moral of the story is I was fed lots of dairy and grains in that first 6 months, and I got lots of ear infections. And the ear infections caused lots of antibiotics. I needed tubes eventually in my ears because of the chronic ear infections. And I had ear infections into my even early teen years. Once I stopped gluten and conventional dairy, gone.
Surprise.
Something to do is this is the sequelae, right? Your kids are on gluten or dairy. They start getting ear infections. What happens? Antibiotics. Gut flora goes down. Dysbiosis, yeast and fungal overgrowth. Yeast and fungal overgrowth perpetuates what? More refined sugar consumption because these critters produce chemicals to make you crave these refined carbohydrates. And the cycle goes on and on and on. The gut gets more leaky. And this is the kind of autoimmune, zonulin, leaky gut, food allergy, more zonulin, tight junctions open up, autoimmune conditions start to occur. So this is the pathology that we want to stop. This is like this pathological downward cycle. So we want to make sure, cut out the most allergenic foods, keep your kids healthy initially, and this is going to get you off this antibiotic exposure cascade. And then, of course, the pesticides and the Roundup, the glyphosate, all intensify this downward cycle.
Yeah, well, you brought up a great point about the autoimmune disease. The term juvenile rheumatoid arthritis did not exist until pretty recently. I don't know if this was a 5-year-old term or 3 years old or 10 years old, but you used to not hear of such a thing as juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. Now, when I say they, I'm guessing the FDA or whoever creates diseases so that they can then legally market a drug for them. They had to come up with the juvenile term because they were seeing that so many people younger and younger were getting rheumatoid arthritis, and that used to be something that, quote unquote, started to occur in your 40s or 50s, and now it's occurring in 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 15-year-olds. They have no idea why. So what do? They just put the word juvenile in front of it. But we know behind the scenes, it's the same mechanism. We know that, for example, when we test a lot of children and teenagers and adults as well, we test their guts. There's an infection called Prevotella copri. If you just Google Prevotella rheumatoid arthritis, you're going to find that 75% of people who were newly diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, they actually have a Prevotella infection. And so we can't legally say cure, but what we can say is if you get rid of that infection, you could shut this autoimmune disease down. And there's a whole category of bacteria that Justin and I test on every single client. There's a whole category of potential autoimmune triggers, meaning if you have these bacterial overgrowth, you have stress, you have the zonulin elevated, which is taking those tight junctions and ripping them apart, you've got the potential to get an autoimmune disease. And those bacteria or parasites or worms or protozoa or the yeast that you mentioned from the antibiotics or the sugar, all those things add up, and then all of a sudden the trigger on the gun gets pulled, and then you got this autoimmune disease. So what our goal is as practitioners is let's try to prevent the disease from occurring. Why wait until somebody gets a diagnosis? Then they're motivated. It's like, well, you should have been motivated before you got the diagnosis because it's much, much easier to get someone out of the rabbit hole before they enter the hole.
100%, because it's not just one thing. It's that this one thing happens and it knocks over all these other dominoes that push you more in this direction to the next, to the next, to the next. Kind of like the ear infection thing perpetuated the antibiotics, which perpetuated the yeast overgrowth, which perpetuated more gluten and more dairy, which perpetuated the antibiotics. And then you're like, 5, 8, 10 years down the rabbit hole and you got a whole bunch of issues. So we want to educate parents and, okay, what are these first dominoes that could fall and where could they go? So there's that. And I think the first intersection is, okay, we want that good bacterial stimulation at birth. So my wife had to have a C-section because of she had a fibroid that was removed a while back that was on the bigger side, and based on our timeline, we couldn't use natural means because of how long it may take. So we had to have her fibroid removed. And once it's removed like that, most OBs are not going to allow a vaginal birth just because of the potential uterine rupture that can happen. So because of that.
Got a question for Dr. J? Go to BeyondWellnessRadio.com and click the questions button. Then tune in to hear the answer. Also, if you like the show, click below to review us on iTunes. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to BeyondWellnessRadio.com.